We built this table on the end where the high side of the pipe will be. You'll see that the outer legs are stabilized by an angled leg. We also built this stabilizer bar across the bottom, and it's 16 feet long. Here I am cutting boards at 12 inches, and I'm going to use 4 boards to make a square. This is the top of the table that I am building. This is the far end of the table, the low side, and that is the high side there. We've put the plywood on top with a running rail across so we can move the pipes throughout our project if we need to spread the rows out. Here I'm cutting grooves in the top of a board. This is for the end table that is on the low side, and my goal is to have the pipe sit in the top groove here so that it can't move back and forth if we bump into it. It'll be attached to the table and it'll be inside that groove with a bracket. I am testing my bracket system. I want to be able to move the pipes as the project goes forth, just in case if I have plants that are wider than my rows and I want to spread my pipes apart. I bought a 4-inch U-shaped bracket, and I'm just bolting it into the rail now just to test it. Using a 2 3/4 hole saw, I am cutting holes for, these are going to fit a 3-inch net pot. I used the lettering that is on the pipes to cut my holes to make sure I had a straight line. What I did notice is that that printout that's on that pipe is not exactly square, so you might want to strike some lines if you were to do this project. The high side of the pipe is about a 1/2 inch different than the low side of the pipe. In this stage, I am just using a wire brush on the end of the drill to clean up any burrs from the hole saw. This is going to be the inlet side, so the pipe is coming into this rubber end cap, and with a 3/4 inch hole saw I was able to cut a hole into the rubber, and once you tighten the threaded pipe connector here onto that one and you tighten it down, the rubber will keep it from leaking. You'll see that I put a glue and a piece of pipe coming out so that I could put my water line that's coming from the pump onto this. On the outlet side, I have the same setup on the outside with the pipe going into this coupler, which is threaded on this side, and I have a coupler here that is also threaded on both sides, female to female, and then I have this 90-degree that I can spin, so I can spin this and it'll change the height of the water inside the pipe. So we have 6 rows set up, and the way that we set it up is we have these rubber end caps, and the rubber end cap will drain on this side. You see that there's a slope coming down. We did a slope of 3 inches for 10 feet. On this end, we have the inlet. If you look inside here, we have that pipe here is on a screw. It's a screw pipe, so you can twist it and turn it so that the water level changes. Next, we have to run our plumbing for the drains to go back to the reservoir. And once we have the drains going back to the reservoir, then we can clamp everything down and install our grow lights. All right, our setup is complete. We have our reservoir with our pump. Our pump pumps in the water. Every tube has its own valve. And you can see that the water is just trickling in. We have the water level set so that every pot is pretty much the same height. There's a little bit of a slope. Our slope is about 1 inch over 10 feet. The recommendation was to do 3.5 inches for 10 feet, but that's a steady stream at the bottom of the pipe. We have starter growth going. So as you can see here, our water level is at that first line of the net pot, so that the starter rock wool will be able to get water at all times until the roots get long enough to go down. What we did was we built our end tables, have feet that can come out so we can lower the system so that once the roots are established, we can have just a steady stream of water. You'll notice on this end of the pipe we have a elbow that can be twisted. It's on a screw end, so you can just turn it to raise or lower the water level. The return is just a pipe going to a PVC pipe here that goes all the way across, and once you get down here, it just tees into a 1 inch pipe, which then goes back into the reservoir. So the drain is the corrugated, the outlet is the smooth.
Subscribe to our channel.